Trade rumors are escalating around a player who is a positional need for New Jersey, would add some fluidity come playoff time that will be needed. Insider drops major Devils trade rumors. Welcome in to Devils Digest. Glad you guys are here. So you go back a couple of summers ago and you go to Nashville. They hired Barry Trotz as general manager. I think it was questionable. I think people want to see how it was going to work out. And I think some people maybe felt a little bit negative like myself. I mean, you had a guy who's never been a general manager, a little bit of an older school style. So you didn't know how exactly it was going to go. It took one off season to show how it was going to go. They're going out and they're just getting anyone. They're getting players who have scored in the past. It didn't really seem like they were filling needs. They're just going out and they're going big fish hunting. And guess what? It didn't really work out to this point. It doesn't really look like a good experiment so far. And players are getting put into trade rumors considering the position that Nashville is now in. One of those players being Ryan O'Reilly. This is from an article, Elliotte Friedmans. I believe that a team like New Jersey would covet a player like O'Reilly. He's a player that they've had some interest in for a long time. Okay, so looking at O'Reilly's stats this season, they've been good. You know, he's got 5 goals, 4 assists, 14 games on a Nashville team that struggles to score, oddly enough, after going out and getting a bunch of forwards who they were expected to, help this team score a little bit more, get a little bit more scoring, be competitive a little bit quicker. I mean, you saw back when they had Filip Forsberg, who needed a new contract. It was kind of like, should this team rebuild? Should they trade away Filip Forsberg, go with a different route, kind of see if they can maybe, have a little bit of a retool? And that's the way that they went. And they said, you know what? We're going to speed it up this offseason. We're going to sign Steven Stamkos. We're going to sign Johnathan Markstrom. We're going to give Brady Skjei a new contract. And it hasn't worked. I mean, look at where Nashville is right now. Now they're looking at moving off guys like Ryan O'Reilly. And when I look at the Devils and Ryan O'Reilly, I think we do probably remember, last offseason, the Devils being interested in a guy like Ryan O'Reilly. And, looking at his playoff numbers, we know he was crucial for St. Louis in that Stanley Cup run. He's been around the league for a while. He's a player who is versatile. You can play him, up and down in your center lineup. He can still probably, for a couple of games or a little bit of a stretch, he can play as your second line center. Now, that's not what the Devils need. The Devils need their bottom 6 centers. They need help there. I mean, you saw what they did this offseason. They go with Cody Glass. They waited until actual, you can start signing players to sign them. So I don't know how, overly aggressive they were with Glass. I mean, from what it seems like, not super over aggressive. And they go with a PTO and Luke Glendening as their 4th line center. So when you're going that cheaper option, that cheaper route, and you saw this be a problem, for the Devils last season and then in the offseason. And now you're seeing it come back up with Cody Glass now injured. I don't think it's an overreaction to go, well, you know what, we need to go outside of where we are right now. We can't get this internally. We can't fix this with somebody already on the team, whether it be in the AHL or NHL. It's clear, even with an injury, we have an issue. And you can go ahead and say, oh, well, you know what, Cody Glass is hurt right now. That's why the bottom 6 centers are struggling. Maybe bottom 6 has struggled as of late. Cody Glass has been a 4th line center throughout his whole entire career. Okay, he's not a 3rd line center. Now, did he pleasantly surprise us to start the season with how he played and, kind of giving some, offense to that 3rd line? Absolutely. But I don't think you should be I don't think it's a good, recipe going off of being pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised that this is working. Because usually it's because prior it didn't work. Prior, that wouldn't have worked. You didn't think it would work. So, off of a short-term basis, from what we've seen so far from Cody Glass, was he able to play 3rd line center? Yes, but it's a short-term basis. Like I said, Ryan O'Reilly is more of a 3rd line center at this point in his career. Can you put him in 2nd line for, a couple of injuries? Sure. I mean, that's why you're going out and getting him. You're going out and getting him. So when you have Cody Glass injured, when you have a guy in a PTO, he can fill in. He can actually support that 3rd line role for New Jersey. And that's something that New Jersey, might need right now. I mean, you look at his age, he's going to be 36 when his contract expires. It expires at the end of next season. So you're looking at a $4.5 million, cap hit per year. I mean, for what he's going to do for you, I don't think that's horrible. It's manageable, that's for sure. You're not giving long-term contracts. I mean, that's what I try and stay away from. Bottom six forwards, they're not going to get a long-term deal. It's going to be, that 2-3 year deal, $4.5 million. That works. I mean, that feels okay. The type of situation that New Jersey's in right now in terms of cap, they're against it. But you could make this fit. You could make this work if you play your cards right. And the Devils were, I hope so, we're looking for a third-line center or fourth-line center during the offseason. They just weren't able to get it done. They said, okay, you know what? We have till March to figure this out. If Cody Glass isn't going to work, if we're going to have an injury, I think it's good that we're seeing it earlier rather than later, that we're seeing when this lineup is injured in the bottom six and how it works. I mean, because it hasn't worked well so far. I mean, they've lost 4 of the last 5 games. They're not scoring the same way they were. They're not, they're not playing how they were on that 8-game win streak. They're not getting the same type of goal support. They're moving players around the lineup. That's what I would find as an overreaction here. I don't think it's an overreaction to go externally, to go explore the trade market, to see what Ryan O'Reilly's value might be. I don't think wouldn't be any more than a second-round pick. But what I do believe would be an overreaction, you decided not to go get a third-line center, fourth-line center during the offseason. You decided to go, PTO, and when it opened up to start signing players, that's when you finally made the decision to sign Cody Glass. So you made that decision that, we're going to be a little bit weaker here. Well, your other alternative is taking Dawson Mercer on a career year, playing the best hockey he's played his whole entire career, and messing it up and putting him on the third line. I think that's an overreaction. When the best part of your team right now is that second line, and then breaking it up because you decided not to go get a third, fourth line center during the offseason that you felt good with, comfortable with, stability with. If you make that decision, that feels like an overreaction to me. Because Dawson Mercer is the only other winger on this lineup right now that can play center. And you're going to take away what looks like going to be a career year to this point for Dawson Mercer because you decided to go get a third line center that you felt comfortable with. That would be an overreaction to me. I don't think it's an overreaction to go externally. I think we saw it in the offseason, we saw it last year, and we're seeing it again right now. I mean, it's not, surprising that this is a problem. I mean, what? It's November 4th? And November 4th, and we're already having this issue. So to say that, going in the playoffs, even if Cody Glass comes back healthy, isn't going to be an issue, a problem for the Devils, I mean, you're just kind of baiting yourself into what you saw last season. You're going to see a team that doesn't score enough, that struggles, during the playoffs to score, and that's what you're going to see with this Devils team. They don't get enough scoring from their bottom six. Their bottom six has been the problem so far this year. The fourth line in particular. Because on the fourth line, you're not going with players who are, playing above their means. I mean, you're looking at your fourth line, you kind of know exactly what you're getting out of all the players there. You already know what they do. You know their history. Third line, you're maybe even playing a little bit lower. Evgeny Dadonov, I know he's out of the lineup and you just got Stefan Nason back. So things will, settle down and fix themselves in that regard, but not at center. Center, you probably have to go externally. Now, Ryan O'Reilly, would I love it? I think it'd only take a second-round pick. I don't think it's too much more than just giving up a second-round pick. And I'm okay with getting rid of a second-round pick at this year's deadline. I'd expect to do at least give away a second-round pick at this year's deadline. But when I look at this team, and how the roster's built right now, I look at the lineup and I go, well, you know what? Andre Palat, he only has 1 point right now. Centers, bottom six, they're an issue. I don't really know if third line center is the way to go to give up the most for your asset. I mean, if you want to go ahead and put Arsenij Griciuk on your first line, then maybe a little bit more. Maybe you can kind of sway me a little bit more in that direction. But for how this team is built right now, does third line center seem like the biggest problem to put our most assets toward? Does it seem like something that we'd have to do? I think it does have to be fixed externally, and I don't find it to be an overreaction. But Ryan O'Reilly, second round pick, I'm fine with the cost. But is that where the Devils need to go the most? They need to get a third line center. I will say that. They have to get a third line center. Are you giving up a second round pick, though, for a third line center when you still need, a player to go play with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt? I mean, the Devils have had a really good start to the year, But there are problems. I mean, we're already seeing our first slump. You know, you've lost 3 of the last 4 games. It's been a tough road trip so far for New Jersey. They come back, they play Montreal on Thursday, get some rest, they're back home. But it hasn't been, all great. Obviously an 8-game win streak, you should probably see a little bit better. And I haven't just, put up my expectations because they've had an 8-game win streak. I'm not just changing my expectations. No, I don't do that. That's recency biasness. But from what I've seen and what I thought going into this year, I thought third line center was going to be a problem. I thought they needed another top 6 winger. And so far, that's what it looks like. But let me know down in the comments. I think the price second round pick for Ryan O'Reilly for a team, I don't think it's horrible. I think that's pretty good. I think Nashville, they see it's not working. The other team, they get their third line center who has a ton of playoff experience. I think it would work out for some team. Just don't know if New Jersey's the right one. Let me know down in the comments. Do you like it? Do you not? Ryan O'Reilly, 2 years left, $4.5 million. Could New Jersey make a move? Throw a mock trade down below if you like it, or if you don't, then don't do that. Or, hopefully you guys hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys all really soon.